Hey there, happy Boxing Day. I hope you're relaxing and just enjoying your day. I'm not sure if you're going to see this today or another time, but I wanted to give you a message for Boxing Week. First of all, remember that this is the time that you need to be contacting your hostesses for the first and second week of January. And I want to give you some examples of dialogue as well as some other things to think about for inspiration at this time of year. I don't want you to feel like you have to give up your holidays, but to take a few minutes, even a half an hour in this week to contact your upcoming hostesses is going to be very, very valuable. Number one, put yourself in the right frame of mind. Be ready, be excited, be enthusiastic. Also, you're going to get what you expect. And although it's natural any time of the year for hostesses to feel like if they postpone their show, it might be better later, you have to remember there's only two reasons why people postpone shows. They postpone their shows because A, they haven't really planned them and they feel like, shoot, I don't have enough time now, so I'm going to need more time. Or B, they're feeling like it's not going to turn out very well because they don't have enough guest attendance. So you've got to jump in there as the coach. You really have to be there to say to her, hey, Mary, I promised you I'll be there and I will. So let me give you a couple of examples of dialogue that you can have. What I'm really talking about is be prepared for somebody to try to postpone or cancel the show, but be expecting that you're going to be able to save that show. You know, what you think about, you're going to bring about. I know I say that all the time. And as you go through this week, I don't want you to be consumed with your business, but I do know human nature is you're going to be thinking about your business. You're going to be thinking about those shows you have coming up. You're going to be thinking about what you want for the year. And I want you to catch yourself and recognize whether or not you're thinking negative thoughts. Remember, the past is not a reflection of the future unless you decide it's going to be. So if you feel like you didn't do as well as you wanted to do last year, that doesn't mean you can't do 10 times better this year. Or if you feel like you had an incredible record-breaking year last year, it doesn't mean that you can't do amazing things this year. So be expecting great things. You don't have to know how they're going to happen, but you do have to expect them and claim them and decide on them. The year that I decided to go from $200,000 to $1 million, I had no idea exactly how it was going to happen, but I did know that that's what I wanted to do and that I was willing to find out and talk to the people that could help me. And because I really was positive about it happening, even though it didn't make sense at first, people came out of the woodwork to support it. And every time I started thinking about, okay, so how are we going to do this $1 million? Ideas started to come to me. But if you're thinking, how am I ever going to be able to get booked? You're going to be having negative things come to you. So let's talk about the dialogue for calling your hostesses. Let's say you have 3 hostesses coming up in the next few days, in the next 7 to 10 days. I want you to be ready to call them up and be on the positive and be assumptive that they're going to be great shows. So let's say I'm calling up Mary and I say, hi, Mary, it's Deborah calling. How was your Christmas? Oh, that's terrific. Was it really busy? Are you tired? You know, just a little bit of chit chat. And then I would say, well, Mary, I just wanted to call to thank you so much for being one of my first hostesses to start 2011. You have no idea how excited I am to come and do your show. I'm going to be practicing just to refresh myself. I'm going to be coming with some new contests and promotions and things. And I just think that it's such a great time of year because women are making those New Year's resolutions about taking care of themselves and they're past being done doing all this stuff for Christmas for everybody else. So let me just quickly get directions to your home and then I'll find out how many people are coming. Okay, go ahead, give me the directions. By being positive and assumptive, even if she's thinking about postponing, she'll be a little more hesitant when she talks to you. So she might say, well, you know what, Deb, I was actually thinking maybe we should move it later in the month because, you know, it is just after Christmas and I don't think anybody has any money. Just stop, listen to her and say, Mary, are you concerned that people aren't going to have any money? Just repeat back to her what she says to you so that she feels heard. And then I would say, Mary, you know what? I really appreciate that you're concerned about your friends. But let me just share a couple of tips with you. January is one of our best months of the year. And I'm sure you're going to notice today, tomorrow, the malls are packed. People are going to the malls and they are spending money. So people do actually have money. But even if you were concerned about your family's budget or their friend's budget, we can have the show delivered later in January and do a COD. So that's no problem at all. The last thing I would want to do is to postpone the show because we have that incredible hostess special on for you right now. It's too late for me to book another show, so I really prefer to work that night. If I don't come into your show, I won't be working. So I want you to get the bonus. I want to see your family and friends, and we can always work out the deal on the money a little bit later. So let's just be enthusiastic and get them there. I think you're going to be surprised at the results you get. Now, if she says, you know what, I don't have enough people coming, then I would say, Mary, tell me, how many people do you have coming? Well, I only have 3. Mary, fantastic. That is a great start. Do you know the only thing that would be a waste of my time is if I didn't come and do a show at all? It's kind of like your boss if he says to you, don't bother coming to work tomorrow and you don't get paid. So I promised you I'd be there, and I absolutely will, even if it's me and you get a fantastic makeover and we eat all your food. But I have to tell you that even the founder of Alouette Cosmetics was actually invited to a show last minute. So if you're feeling like you don't have enough people coming because you really haven't touched base with them, by all means, call them up now. Say you wanted to start the new year just for the girls. It was time for the girls to treat themselves, start looking after themselves, and really find out about a new makeover for the new year. So by making those last minute phone calls and ask those 3 people to bring friends with them, we can still have a fantastic show. So listen, I'm going to come anyway. I'm going to come around 6:15. So let me just get directions. Now, do you see how enthusiastic I am? And I'm also solution oriented. If she's really not going to have the show, she's really going to have to come back to me again and say, you know what, I really don't want to have it. And at that point, I'm going to say to her, Mary, is it that you don't want to have it at all? Or is it that you just don't want to have it in that week? And then I would go ahead and reschedule her if I can, but I would absolutely book another show for that time period because you can't count on her. Somebody who postpones once will often postpone again, and it's the same thing as a cancellation. But believe it or not, 8 to 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, these people will say, okay, all right, fine. Now, you might get off the phone thinking, ooh, gosh, she didn't sound very enthusiastic. I feel like I made her have the show. But trust me, your attitude has to be, Mary, you are going to thank me when I get there. When you realize you didn't have to replan the show over again, call the people that were coming, cancel them, call everybody back again, re-invite them, and that you're going to have your hostess benefits so quickly, you're going to thank me. And then when you get to the show that night, make sure you do thank her by treating her really well, doing a great show for her, and being ready and being excited. And in next week's video, I'll have some extra stuff to tell you that you can do as well. So your enthusiasm is really going to make up for even a lack of knowledge on your part. But I have just given you 2 really great examples of words to use. If you get on the phone and you don't use what we teach you, and you say things like, hi, it's Deborah calling from Alouette. I'm just calling to see how everything's going for your show next week. What you're really saying is, I'm not really expecting it to turn out very well. You're probably going to cancel on me. Go ahead. I'm just asking you. So please do it the way we teach you to do it. You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. And decide, if you don't have 2 shows the first week of January at least, then get out and see a manager show. Go to see somebody who has the shows up. It'll do a couple of things for you. It will, first of all, put you in the mood. You might have 8 shows up in January, but you don't have anything the first week. You want to get back into Alouette mode. Go and watch a show. I promise you, you'll feel like jumping out of your chair and doing the show for her. It will also help you to refresh yourself. And one of the best benefits of viewing a top person show is it will confirm to you what you are doing right. Going to your shows and second guessing yourself will cause you to lose momentum in the business. But when you know you do a good show, then you can go full force into 2011 being really excited. Okay, so those are great words for you to use. Now, here's a couple things I just want you to think about. As you're thinking about goals for 2011, and I hope you are, you should think about personal goals, family goals, health goals, and then certainly business goals. And here's a couple questions I want you to think about. If life was perfect, how would you want it to be? Now, life's never going to be perfect, but it'll start you on that dream list. Another thing to think about is, if you knew you could not fail, what would you do? And finally, if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know if I could ever get enough shows up to really make things happen or ever get enough recruits, let me ask you this. If I was to tell you that I was going to give you a trip for 2, all expenses paid to Hawaii, if you got up 6 shows in the first 2 weeks of January, do you think you could do it? I think you could. So ask yourself, what would I do to get those shows up? And do it for yourself. I believe in you, and I know you can have a great 2011, and regardless of what you do, big, small, or whatever, you are a part of my Alouette family, and I appreciate everything you do. So I hope you're getting ready for a great new year with Alouette. Thanks for everything. See you soon.